Caitlin Clark is out injured right now, and it appears that we know, well, she's out injured with a groin injury, and it appears there is footage of how it happened.
Caitlin Clark went down, not in defeat, but in pain. What should have been another game of rising ratings and jaw-dropping passes ended with the WNBA's brightest star walking off injured. A groin strain caught on camera, inflicted by yet another uncalled hit. But the injury wasn't even the most alarming part. The silence that followed was deafening. No whistle, no review, no protection. And this wasn't some fringe player. This was the face of the league.
WNBA referees has been having issues. WNBA referees simply playing against Caitlin Clark and the Fever. This is another year and another case of WNBA referees not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
The one whose jersey flies off shelves, whose games crash viewership records, whose presence alone has resurrected an entire sport. And yet, she limps off without so much as a ref's glance. This wasn't just a missed call. It was a message. A message that the league wants the fame, the money, and the media, but not the responsibility that comes with it. Like, subscribe and comment. Protect CC if this league's silence has gone too far. Because what happened next made it clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just being ignored. She's being targeted.
The worst missed calls I think I've ever seen in basketball.
And then when the refs don't call the bear hug.
Obviously being fouled. The refs don't call it.
It happened in real time, but the clip spread like wildfire within minutes. Caitlin Clark drove hard to the rim during a high-stakes matchup against the Seattle Storm, only to be slammed mid-air by a defender right in front of the official. No foul, no whistle, just a stunned arena and a star player grimacing in pain.
Caitlin Clark is the needle. Caitlin is boxed off.
Caitlin Clark as the star. Everything else is wrapped around her, and everything else is revolving around her.
She's Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
Later diagnosed as a groin injury, the contact was more than just physical, it was emblematic. The kind of foul that would spark outrage in any men's league. But here, silence. Replays showed clear body contact as Clark twisted mid-drive, her momentum violently halted. Yet the referee, just feet away, remained frozen.
For whatever reason, these referees made it their business to simply not make the calls.
It wasn't just a lapse in officiating. It was a moment that revealed a deeper rot. This wasn't just a missed call. It was a trigger.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has suffered yet another hard foul, and the referees failed to make a call.
The WNBA is physical, and she just needs to get over.
Within hours, fans flooded social media demanding accountability, sharing side-by-side comparisons of blatant fouls that went unpunished. The league wanted her highlight reel, but turned away the moment that highlight came with bruises. And the aftermath, that was just the beginning of something bigger.
And we have another situation where WNBA referees failed to make the right calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
What happened in Seattle wasn't an isolated slip. It was part of a disturbing pattern that's been building since the opening tip of the season. Game after game, Caitlin Clark has been subjected to borderline assaults that masquerade as physical defense. From being yanked on cuts to absorbing full-body collisions on drives, the hits keep coming, and the silence from officials grows louder.
Why is that? New year, Caitlin Clark still getting assaulted though, bruh. Why is we back here?
The pattern is too consistent to ignore. Elbows fly, arms lock, defenders crash into her path without fear of consequence. Why? Because they know the whistle won't blow.
Referee's literally right there. Like, bro, you're right there.
One viral clip showed Clark getting crushed across the chest mid-layup with a referee just a few feet away. No reaction, no call. It's not about one missed whistle anymore. It's about a culture that's turned a blind eye to escalating violence against the league's most valuable asset. Meanwhile, less contact fouls are being whistled when Clark's own teammates so much as breathe on opponents. It's a double standard that feels less like oversight and more like deliberate neglect.
A foul on Sophie Cunningham for doing absolutely nothing. Dantas, just her hands in the air. Another foul, touch foul, touch foul, touch foul.
And what's more troubling, the league keeps pretending this isn't happening. At this point, the officiating isn't just inconsistent, it's embarrassing. And fans have the receipts. Clip after clip, slowed down and analyzed frame by frame, tells the story the league won't admit. Caitlin Clark is playing by a different set of rules. While defenders manhandle her without punishment, the Indiana Fever rack up fouls for the most minor contact imaginable. One possession, Sophie Cunningham gets flagged for standing still. Arms up, feet planted, no movement. The next, Clark takes a shoulder to the ribs, and the ref stares like nothing happened. It's not just frustrating, it reeks of bias.
Caitlin Clark has suffered yet another hard foul, and the referees failed to make a call.
And this isn't about one or two officials. The issue spans multiple games, multiple crews, and multiple arenas. The pattern is baked in. Opponents are emboldened, knowing they can get away with excessive contact, while Fever players can barely contest a shot without hearing a whistle. Fans aren't blind, neither are analysts. This level of inconsistency is fueling theories of institutional bias, and it's hard to argue otherwise when the numbers and the footage speak louder than any league statement ever has. At a breaking point, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White could no longer stay silent. During a post-game press conference, her frustration finally erupted. She didn't mince words, calling the recent officiating egregious and exposing a staggering free throw disparity, minus 31 over just a handful of games.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
That's not a small margin. It's a statistical red flag. White made it clear her team isn't camping beyond the arc. They're attacking the rim, drawing contact, and still walking away empty-handed. And at the center of that contact storm is Caitlin Clark. White emphasized the disrespect her players are facing, not just from opponents, but from the very officials meant to enforce fairness. For a coach to go public like that, mid-season, speaks volumes. It's a calculated risk, a direct challenge to the league's officiating credibility. Most coaches hold back to avoid fines, but White knew silence wasn't protecting her team. It was enabling the abuse. And when a respected coach breaks protocol to demand justice, the league has no excuse left for looking away. The system isn't just broken, it's rigged. And the people inside it are finally calling it out. While the hits keep coming and the outrage continues to mount, one figure remains conspicuously absent: WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Not a press release, not a statement, not even a tweet. The league's leader has gone completely silent as its most marketable player limps off the court.
Kathy has said nothing. She just refused to address this referee problem.
It's a stunning display of apathy, especially when considering how central Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA's recent explosion in popularity. Engelbert has been front and center when the league wants to celebrate ratings milestones or unveil partnerships. But when it comes to the ugly part, the punishment, the bias, the disregard for player safety, she vanishes.
No doubt, the Indiana Fever are dominating the WNBA rating.
Fans have taken notice. Players have taken notice. And the silence is beginning to look like complicity. The league doesn't hesitate to use Clark's image in promos or sell out arenas on her name alone. But the moment she's assaulted on the hardwood, crickets. That's not just poor leadership, it's a betrayal. Leadership isn't about smiling for cameras when things go right. It's about showing up when everything is going wrong. And Engelbert's absence is speaking louder than any referee's whistle ever could.
Caitlin Clark is definitely still in a shooting slump. She attempted 6 3-pointers, made none of them. She went 3 for 13 all night.
This is the first time in her career Caitlin Clark recorded more turnovers than points, bro. She had more turnovers than points for the first time in her whole basketball career.
Stat sheets don't always tell the truth, and Caitlin Clark just proved it. Against the Seattle Storm, she logged what may go down as the worst statistical performance of her career. 6 points, 8 turnovers, 0 made threes. For most players, that would mean disaster. But Clark isn't most players.
Her impact on the court was still extremely high. She did also have 9 assists, 3 steals, and 2 rebounds.
Even while visibly limping and clearly frustrated, she orchestrated the offense with surgical precision. 9 assists, 3 steals, controlled spacing, open looks for teammates. Her fingerprints were on every key possession, even when her shot wouldn't fall. Despite being double-teamed, slammed on screens, and hacked without a whistle, she remained composed. No texts, no outbursts, just relentless leadership. It was a masterclass in how to command a game without dominating the scoreboard, because even when her numbers dipped, her impact soared. Clark forced defensive collapses, open lanes, and dictated the tempo. The Fever didn't just win, they looked unified, focused, and dangerous. That cohesion, It started with a floor general who kept leading while bleeding. And that's something no box score can capture. Not even a brutal off night could dim the light she brings to the court. When a star struggles, a team either collapses or rises. In Seattle, the Indiana Fever did the latter. With Caitlin Clark battered and battling, her teammates stepped up and delivered one of their most complete performances of the season.
Leah Boston put on a masterclass, hitting a career-high 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and she shot 72%.
Aaliyah Boston exploded for a career-high 31 points and 8 rebounds, dominating the paint with the confidence of a seasoned all-star. She wasn't just scoring, she was making a statement. Kelsey Mitchell added 26 points of her own, slicing through the defense with cold efficiency and hitting from deep like a sniper in rhythm. Then there was Lexi Hull, who notched her first career double-double, another breakout performance on a night when it mattered most. But here's what ties it all together. Every one of those moments happened because Caitlin Clark was still on the floor.
If it wasn't for Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, this could have been the third straight loss.
Her gravity pulled defenders. Her passes created rhythm. Her presence made it possible. Even when she wasn't lighting up the scoreboard, she was the engine. These weren't just great individual performances. They were a team responding to their leader's sacrifice. And that spark, it started with Clark's resilience.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark isn't just playing in the WNBA. She's transforming it. Before her arrival, a regular season game pulling 300,000 viewers was considered a win. Now, her matchups are peaking at 2.2 million, averaging over 1.7 million per broadcast. Networks like ESPN and ABC are seeing double-digit growth across the board. Indiana Fever games aren't just events, they're spectacles.
It averaged 1.7 million views. It peaked at 2.2 million views. WNBA on ESPN regular season averaged 33% more than last year, and it was up 2025 NBA coverage across ESPN of 14% from last year. A victory, bro. ESPN made a bag on this one.
Ticket prices spike the moment her name appears on the schedule. Merchandise sells out. Camera crews double. She's the storyline, the marketing plan, the headline.
Now, this ain't because they played the Las Vegas Aces. No, this because Caitlin Clark was expected to ball out. Caitlin and them still doing big viewership numbers, still doing big-time votes when it comes to all-star games, still making their presence felt.
Yet even with all that attention, Clark remains the same, composed, unshaken, driven. This isn't hype, it's economics. One player is lifting the value of an entire league. Commentators, executives, even rival coaches admit when Caitlin's on the court, people watch. And when she's off it, the conversation still revolves around her. No other player in recent history has made this kind of leap from prospect to phenomenon to pillar. She's not just boosting the WNBA's visibility, she's rewriting its ceiling. And the numbers aren't just proof of popularity, they're a warning. Lose her, and the whole thing could come crashing down.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura. So
the WNBA is cashing in on Caitlin Clark's rise, front and center in promos, plastered across sponsorship deals, fueling sold-out arenas. But when it's time to protect the very player generating that momentum, the league goes silent. That's not just hypocrisy, it's exploitation.
I don't care about the score. I'm watching because it's the FOMO that everyone is rushed to watch.
Imagine the NBA letting Steph Curry take unchecked hits without consequence. Or the NFL ignoring repeated blows to Patrick Mahomes after the whistle. Those leagues understand the business of protecting their stars. The WNBA, meanwhile, appears content to drain every drop of revenue from Clark's popularity without offering her the basic decency of fair treatment. While officials ignore her getting decked, the league turns a blind eye and keeps rolling out her face for ad campaigns. And other players have noticed. Cheap shots come easy when the refs don't blow the whistle. That's not physical basketball, it's sanctioned targeting. It sends a message that Clark can be hit without repercussion, as long as the league keeps trending. And that's not just dangerous for her, it's dangerous for the future the WNBA claims to be building. Because no brand survives when the star breaks.
It's the third most watched WNBA regular season game ever on ESPN.
There's only so much one player can carry. Caitlin Clark is 23 years old, a rookie by league standards, and yet the entire weight of the WNBA rests on her shoulders. She's expected to bring in ratings, boost attendance, grow merchandise sales, survive every body check, silence every critic, and somehow still win games.
1.2 million views, man. Peaked at, average 1.7 million viewership. Ain't no team in the W still doing this, bro. Nobody's doing the numbers the Fever is doing.
But what happens when the cost outweighs the reward? How long can a player endure constant physical abuse, officiating bias, and league apathy before it becomes too much? The groin injury sustained in Seattle may be a warning shot, not just about her health, but about the sustainability of the league's current approach. Because if Clark walks away, even temporarily, the WNBA loses its centerpiece. Viewership dips, ticket sales drop, momentum stalls. And that's not fear-mongering, it's math. The numbers prove it. Nearly every top broadcast this season has one thing in common. Clark is on the court. Without her, the ratings don't hit, the crowds don't surge, the brand doesn't buzz. The WNBA isn't just betting on her, they're depending on her. But what are they giving in return? Caitlin Clark has already given more to the WNBA than anyone could have predicted. Visibility, marketability, respect, and relevance. She's delivered on the court, pulled in millions off it, and revived a league desperate for attention. But the system around her has failed. Repeated no-calls, reckless physicality, and a leadership that vanishes when things get hard. These are not just oversights. They're choices. Choices that put profit over protection, optics over safety, and silence over accountability. The league loves the numbers, the headlines, the packed arenas. But it's forgotten the cost. Clark shouldn't have to be the star and the shield. She shouldn't have to absorb hit after hit while the league cashes in on her likeness. That's not sustainable. That's not professional. That's not right. If this continues, the consequences won't just be another injury. It could be the collapse of the very momentum she created. The time to act isn't tomorrow, it's now. Like, subscribe and comment, protect CC if this injustice has gone far enough. Because one whistle could change everything. And if the league doesn't blow it soon, the silence might cost them the future.